Andrea Leigh Rogers is a celebrity trainer, motivational coach, and the founder of Xtend Barre, which has studios all over the world. You guys have probably seen her workouts on Bodhi. Is it pronounced Bodhi?
Body.
Body. Okay,
Yeah, yep.
Bodi, y'all. Or maybe in Vogue, Harper's Bazaar, or Elle, where she's been featured. She's also a mom of two, a skincare entrepreneur, and now the author of the brand new book, Small Moves, Big Life 7 Daily Practices to Supercharge Your Energy, Productivity, and Happiness. Andrea has built a career around helping women feel stronger, calmer, and more confident. So she's here to show us today how to do that without completely overhauling our lives. I love this idea. Hi, Andrea.
Hello, I'm so glad to be here.
Thank you so much for being here. We're so excited to talk to you. I was reading there was a stat that says almost three-fourths of women report carrying the emotional stress of their family and friends, and nearly 1 in 12 moms rate their mental health as poor or fair, which made me so sad. So I'm wondering, you're a person who's been in the health and fitness industry forever. Was there something in your life that happened because we listed all your stats, so we know all the things you have going on? Was there some sort of catalyst that really made you say to yourself, "I have to help other women get out of what I'm going through right now"?
Yes. So I entered the fitness and wellness world because I loved movement. Movement was a part of my life from a young age. I was a dancer and then became a professional dancer. And after graduating from college, I was quite bewildered on what I was going to do with my adult life, right? Like I knew I had to adult and I didn't quite know how to do it. So I segued my love for movement into a Pilates career, which grew into Xtend Barre, which grew into franchising and all the things. And I learned very early on that I got a high while teaching these classes. Like I got a high when I saw these women struggling and challenging in their movements and then coming on the other side of it and going, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. Or coming back the next week and feeling empowered and strong, coming back the next year and being a completely different version of themselves. And through teaching private one-on-one clients, through the classes and globally, connecting with women, I learned very early on in my fitness career the parallels between doing something hard in your workout class and doing something hard in your life and
Mhm.
having the confidence and courage and encouragement to do it in the classroom, and the same thing reaching those levels in your life. And so through some challenges of my own that I came into not expectingly, right? I discovered that I needed to start to adopt some of these small changes in my life in order to breathe again, in order to function again,
Mhm.
in order to see the light in a very dark time in my life. And through that process, I started to share the things that worked with me, just very organically, like my best friends. Okay, girl, here, this is what I'm doing in the morning to get my day going. And
Yeah.
here's what I'm doing at night to get the best sleep of my life. And here are some things that I'm doing when I feel like my world is spinning. And those things just started to connect and really make an impact in the people close to me. And then it went from my inner circle to a larger circle to my clients, to my members. And then I decided, let's write this down. Let's write a book. Let's
Yeah.
put this in some form of a tangible toolkit.
Do you think I feel like it so often takes us just hitting the wall before we completely make a change. Do you think burnout is just a prerequisite for us finding balance?
Oh my God, that's a great question, right? It's so true. It's like you do it
Yeah.
because you keep going and going and going and going until you physically or mentally cannot any longer, and then change happens. And that's one of the reasons why I wrote Small Moves, Big Life, because I don't want that to be the catalyst for change. I want women to be able to embrace these small changes in their everyday life before they hit that full on burnout, or as they're about to hit it, before everything spirals, to adopt some of these strategies, because I believe you're right. I think that as women, we wear so many hats. The
Mhm.
expectations are so high that we put on ourselves, not just society. And we just go because that's what we can do, right? And we just layer it on, add another thing to the to
Yeah.
do list. Keep going, keep going, keep going until you finally break. And I don't think we should wait until that break to find that calm, to find that direction and strategy in our lives, and to feel in control again. Feels good to
Mhm.
be in control again.
Of course. I do feel like I'm in this place, and I don't know if you resonate with this or anyone listening, but because of our access on social media, it feels like everyone's got a book, everyone's a coach, everyone's doing all these things. And so sometimes it even gets overwhelming with knowing where to start with what would help you better your life. It can be a little bit overwhelming there. And then it's like, "Oh my god, I have to pay for this big program, and it's so many days and this big investment." And what I loved so much about your process is it's 7 practices that we can or 7 what would you
Yeah,
say? Yeah,
practices.
practices that you
Yep.
can do in your life, but it can be done in 30 minutes each. Was there a reason that you really wanted to target that small amount of time?
I feel like we're soulmates, Kelly, because you just said exactly one of the reasons is because we are inundated with these messages. Everybody is a life coach. Everybody has a story to share. And I think it's beautiful and I think it's
Yeah.
wonderful. And I think so many of them are very helpful. But it can become this cycle of comparison and it can become a cycle of there's just feels like there's just so much to do and so much to change that you freeze, right? You just freeze. You're
Yeah.
like, I can't possibly add more or do more in my life. And you just stop and you don't move anywhere and you continue to sit back and watch other people rise while you feel like you just stay stagnant.
Mhm.
And so for me, it was like, no, 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 you don't need to overhaul everything. You don't need to do 3 workouts, one outside, one inside. You don't need to, read 5 books today. You don't need to like do all the things. Here are some very simple things, not rocket science, although backed by science, that are going to actually make you feel like, holy cow, like I'm actually making progress. I'm
Right.
actually moving the needle. I'm moving towards the right direction without feeling like I'm just in a swirl. Like
Mhm.
I heard someone the other day. I was at my daughter's cheerleading game, so I was at the football game, and another parent was saying hi to a parent walking by and said, "Hey, how you doing?" And she was like, "Oh, I'm maintaining." I was like,
That's sad.
I know. And I was like, I stopped her. I said, maintaining. Yeah, okay. I get that. But like, I feel like that's what we do. We just get through the day. Every day it's
Yeah.
like, let's get through the day. And
Survive.
that's not a way to live, right? And
Right.
and there will be days like that. Realistically, not every day is gonna be like thriving. But if we can zoom out and have more days that we feel like we're kind of doing the right things, we're feeling good
Mm.
about ourselves at the end of the day, as opposed to just maintaining, that's the goal. And that's where change happens. And that's where pride occurs.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like we need that thing where you're having the little small win even to keep going, right? Like, you need the motivation of that.
That's motivation.
Yeah.
Not motivation doesn't wake you up. Like you don't get up in the morning and you're like, I'm so motivated. I mean, sometimes
Right.
you are, but it's the discipline to do the small things. And then when you do those small things, you get those moments like you just said, Kelly, where you're like, oh, I just did that. That's a
Yeah.
win. That's a
Yeah.
win for the day. And that creates a little bit of pride and that creates motivation. And then you do it again and it just
Yeah.
starts to add up.
Yeah. Well, I wanna talk about the do the thing, the DTT method. That really stuck out to me because I feel like I live by endless to-do list,
Mhm.
like, that is just constantly where my life feels like it's a guiding force, but they never get done fully. So, how is this different?
Yes. Okay. So that was my life.
Yeah.
Okay. I lived by that to do list. And at one point, I had just moved to New York City.
Okay.
I had just gone through a very difficult separation and divorce, going through a divorce. And I decided, yes, let's move to New York City as a single mom with 2 kids and nobody that I know there. I think that's going to be a great idea. And everybody thought I was crazy in my life, but I knew that was what I needed to do. However, it was so overwhelming, right? I went from like a nice house to this tiny, teeny,
Mhm.
tiny 2 bedroom
Mhm.
apartment. I was like, girls, take all of your toys and they fit in one box. So whatever fits in this box is what we take. And we had this little tiny apartment, and I remember just standing there. I'll never forget it. And the girls were playing over here in the room. The other one was playing in the living room, and there were boxes everywhere. And I was like, and I was running an international business, right? And I'm sitting myself going, what the hell did I do? Like,
Yeah.
how am I going to do this? And I just was physically, overwhelmed with boxes. And I had this to-do list, and I was like, this is like it looked like a failure list, right? It gave me anxiety every time I looked at it. I was like, there has to be a better way. Like, I can't
Mhm.
keep adding to this list because I'm drowning. So I just ripped it up and I sat down at my tiny little table that only fit 3 chairs because that's all we had room for in our apartment. And I sat there and I looked outside at my neighbor who I could pretty much see brushing their teeth. And I was like, 3 things today. I'm just going to attack with no excuses. 3 non-negotiables today. And I'm going to be more strategic about what I write down. I'm going to think about this. I'm going to be intentional with what I do today. What are the 3 things that I can do today that are going to make me feel like I accomplished something today?
Mhm.
So when I put my head on the pillow at night, I'm like, okay, yeah, that was a good day. So I gave it some thought. And I wrote down those 3 things, and it felt good at the end of the day. And the next day I did the same thing, and the next day I did the same thing, and then a few weeks later, I was like, "This is really working. This is adding up. I'm moving the needle. I am feeling in control. I no longer feel like I'm just, like, being run by this list or bulldozed by this list. I feel like I'm in control." And then the next time I was like, "You know what? I can add 2 more. So I'm just gonna add 2 little bonus moves on there." So I did the things, and then I got a couple extras done. And then I added a signature move where I was like, "You know what? I need one thing during the day that just feeds my soul, just me,
Mm,
like selfishly me, like what can I do?" And I added a little signature move, and I do that every single day as well. Simple little things,
yeah.
you know?
But I love the signature move though too, because I think on the list for me, I feel like it's things I have to do or the should do, those things like that. So when you're adding the thing that you want to do into that, it makes everything else, again, you're more motivated to go do all these other things. Like I think we forget about ourselves, we neglect ourselves until we go through the full breakdown. And so this is a good way
It's
to
true.
incorporate it into your day to day life.
And take the guilt away. Like a lot of the
Yeah,
times where at the end of the day, things are busy, you should be folding the towels, yet you really want to just sit there with a skincare mask on and like veg out for a moment. And
right.
and we tell ourselves that we can only choose one or we have to do the right one. And if you wrote that down on the list in the morning, you're like, "No, I committed to actually taking this time for myself," and you actually do it and there's no guilt. It's like, the other
Well, it's
thing
on
can
the
wait.
list,
It's on the list.
so you gotta do
You
it.
got to do the thing.
Yeah. Well, speaking of guilt, you talk a lot about mom guilt, and I wanna talk about breaking free of mom guilt. What does that actually look like in real life? Because I think so often the guilt and the heaviness can feel stronger than the motivation. So how do we break free from things that we feel just like there's no winning battle to I mean, there's no way to win that battle to me, like it's
Yes.
always kind of a balancing act.
Yes. Well, first of all, I feel like we have to lower I don't want to say lower the bar, but I think we have to release the expectations of what we put on ourselves in terms of what is real and what is not. Like,
Yeah,
like, come on, we're not going to be able to do all the things. You're not going to be a superhero mom. You're not going to be like room mom and at the same time be like a badass CEO running the bit.
right.
You will have moments that you wear both hats. You will have
Yeah,
moments where you are winning as a mother. You will have moments that you're winning in your personal life or career, and that will ebb and flow. And I think when we start to zoom out, I always say like zoom out. That's a word I use often. Like zoom out. Look at, are you doing a good job in this
yeah,
category? Yeah. Are you doing a great job in that category? Great. Then let's get rid of this mom guilt that we are supposed to be perfectly balanced because that's not a thing. There's different seasons. You're going to go through seasons where you're like crushing it as a mom. You're going to go through seasons where you are not. And that's okay because our intentions are there to be great at everything. We just don't always show up at great at everything. And
yeah.
so for me, it's like, let's get rid of those expectations and zoom out.
I think that's so smart. We had, the former head of NBC Universal, her name's Bonnie Hammer, she was on a couple weeks ago, and I said, how did you do work-life balance? And, like, how did you figure out how to do that?" She said, "I didn't." Like, that doesn't
No,
exist. We've got to stop the narrative that that is some goal we're trying to get to. It just doesn't exist. So similar to what you're saying, you do the best you can every day and zooming out and saying, "Am I doing a good job?" 'Cause we
correct.
miss that if we don't do it perfect.
That's the thing. We expect perfection and then we compare. We
Yeah,
compare like, oh my God, look at Susie and she's doing this with her kids, or look at so and so and she's building this with her business or writing the book or whatever. And we
right.
have to stop and just look at our own little bubble and then zoom out of our bubble and go, are you doing a good job? You're doing a good job. Are you giving it your intention? Is your intention to do great? It is. And
Yeah,
it's not always going to add up. And then
yeah.
stop with the mom guilt. Like your kid, I travel. My kids do not feel deprived. I miss certain things at school. They do not feel unloved. Like they just
Yeah,
know mom works hard and she has certain jobs and responsibilities outside of being a mother that are required for me to do. And when I show up for them, I show up full out. And they know
mhm,
that too. So
right.
we
Well,
all do our
and
best.
in some arguments, you could say too that creating a life for yourself that's more full than one piece, like I'm just a mother, is living by example and teaching as well. So it's another version of being a great mom in a way because you're showing your daughters all the things that are possibilities in this world.
You bet. And I'm also showing them that although they are a massive part of my world, right? They are my world. They're not
Yeah.
the only world for me,
Right.
right? Like, because that's not
Right.
realistic either. Like, they have to
Yeah.
understand they are super special to me. They're special in our world, but there are a lot of special people in this world. We all have to keep living our lives. And so, yes, I think setting that stage very early on so that they don't think that the sun rises and sets with them, that they understand the life keeps going and they have to figure out their role in it and how we all play a role in contributing to this life that we live, right? They have to
Right.
help me around the house. They have to do their chores. They have to, do things because we are a team and it
Mhm.
takes a team in order to, make things work.
Yeah. Well, you mentioned that you were a dancer back in the day. I mean, you've always kind of been in like movement practices. So I love that your routines are actually simple though, and you don't have to go to the gym. Can you share with the listeners maybe just a quick 5-minute reset that you're loving right now or your favorite quick reset with your body?
Yes, 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 yes. So one of my favorite chapters in the book is all about movement. And, I've been teaching fitness for almost 20 years now. And the one thing that I notice, and I know the one thing that is going to make you that person that feels good, that moves their body every day, that gets results is showing up.
Mhm.
Okay. Is just being consistent. And in order to be consistent, you have to do things that you A, enjoy, and B, you're going to stick with, right? You can't like do the latest trendy workout because your girlfriend does it and she got great results, but you
Right.
absolutely hate it and your body feels terrible afterwards, right? So you have to actually first identify what you like to do, what feels good on your body. Secondly, I like to remove the barriers and excuses. I want you to just move your body every day for 10 minutes.
Okay.
That is my goal for you.
Okay.
Every single day, without fail, no excuses unless you are really sick. You are going to move your body every day for 10 minutes. So when I decided to launch the book, I also filmed 10-minute workouts. And
Mhm.
if you buy the book, you get access to the workouts for free. I was like, I'm going to make this as easy as it can possibly be so people can
No
feel the power.
excuses.
No
Yeah.
excuses. Because I know what's going to happen, Kelly, when people actually show up every day for 10 minutes for themselves every day and they move their body. When you move your body, you move your life. Okay. You
Mhm.
move your body, you move your life. You will feel obviously all the physical benefits, right? The endorphins, you're going to feel stronger, you're going to have more energy, but your mind is going to be clearer. You're going to feel good that you just did something good for yourself. You're going to
Right.
make healthier choices. You're going to feel more capable to jump into a challenging situation because you just did something that was a little bit hard and you got through it. There are so many benefits that we know scientifically and that we know mentally and we know physically and we know just for our own well-being for working out. So 10 minutes every
Okay.
single day. And that's it. These 10-minute workouts, they deliver. Now, if for some reason, let's say 10 minutes is not enough for you and you need more, you can double up, you can do whatever you want. But I also sneak in throughout the day something I call movement steps. And these are little bite-sized opportunities to move your body when you would otherwise just be sitting idle, like while I'm waiting for my milk for my matcha to cook in the microwave or on the stove or whatever you're doing, I sit there and I do lunges, right?
Yeah.
When I'm brushing my teeth, I'm doing plies. When I am waiting for a commercial, like the girls and I will hold a plank. Like there are moments all day long that I sprinkle in a tiny little 1 to 2 minutes, maybe 30 seconds of movement, and I'm telling you, it changes your whole way of
Mhm.
thinking throughout the day. It changes who you are. You're the person that instead of standing there leaning on the countertop scrolling Instagram, you're doing a lunge while you're waiting for, the microwave. That's a big shift in your life. That's a big change in trying to be move the needle in the right direction for how you want to live.
Yeah. And it's so much more realistic. I know in my 40s, when I was in my 20s, I would work out all the time, but I had all the time in the world. Like I didn't have the
Yeah.
responsibilities.
Right.
Part of my job felt like being hot in your 20s,
Yeah.
like you're
Yeah.
just like,
Yeah.
this is part of it. Then you get older and you have more responsibilities. Either you have a family, you have a job, and it's so difficult to maintain what I used to without just completely stopping because like you
Right.
said, consistency is so much more important too as we
So
age.
much important.
And
So much
that's
more.
that's been the harder thing for me though, is because I don't have as much time or energy, if I'm being honest,
So
because I
that's
have
the
so many
thing.
more responsibilities. Yeah.
Yes, yes, that's why I'm telling you. We did a challenge. We did a 6-week challenge. We just finished it up, wrapped it up a couple weeks ago. We had we have about 1,000 people on our Facebook group page right now, and it was unbelievable. People were like, "Oh my god, I'm that woman that is working out every single day. How in
Right.
the world am I that person?" And you can easily do it because you're not jumping in the car and going to the gym and having to change. You can just do this in your pajamas. Like
Right.
there's no excuses. And when you say to yourself, 10 minutes. right? You're like,
You can do
Kelly,
anything for
I
10
can
minutes.
do 10 minutes. And
Yes.
there is, if I, and it almost makes you like, it's like the reverse. It's like, if you don't do it, like, you don't want to be that person that can't even do
Well,
10
right.
minutes, right?
Right.
So it kind of puts that pressure on you in a good way to be like, come on, show up, do this for yourself. And I'm telling you, within a couple weeks, it is a game changer.
Yeah. It probably also, I would say, you have to shift the mentality of this instant gratification that we're so used to
Oh,
because we don't know how to build things anymore. And that's been a really interesting experience of aging for me too, is that my body can't bounce back the way it used to. And I don't want to hurt myself either. So I have to be a little more patient with processes now. And so
yeah.
this is a perfect way to do it because you're not overdoing it every day and it feels attainable.
I love that you said that. I think not only do we have to get more comfortable with patience in each process, we also have to get more comfortable with allowing ourselves to become beginners and work towards mastery on something.
Mhm.
And I say that because we are so quick to have something new and shiny and
Yes.
exciting in order to stimulate,
Yes.
right? Like back in the day when I would create a workout video, I did one video, one DVD, right? Like I'm aging myself, but one
Yes, yeah, I
DVD.
love that.
And we would do it every day. Like you would press play on that one workout
Yes,
every single day. And guess what? You got crazy sick results. Like
right.
because you were able to master it and you got better and better. And because you were better with your form and technique, you were able to go deeper in your range of motion and lift more and all these things. And now I will launch a workout program with 30 brand new workouts. And my members will do all 30 in a day at 30. And they're like, okay, what's next? I'm like, repeat. This could last you a lifetime. These three
Yes.
workouts could last you the rest of your life. But we're bored so quickly,
Yes.
right? We get so bored and it's because of what we do every day and the scrolling and the constant
Mhm.
excitement that we get and the jolt of adrenaline. And I'm saying, let's just pause for a moment and become beginners and be comfortable with trying to master something. Be comfortable with repetition,
Mm.
be comfortable with it and lean into it, lock into it, and see the power of repetition.
Yeah. I'm wondering if there's a tie because I know you talk about perfectionism, and that's something I really related to. Just I think anyone that's a high achieving person probably relates to it a little bit. And so I'm wondering if breaking things up like what you just described, does that also help us kind of overcome some of our perfectionistic tendencies in a way?
I believe so. And for me personally,
Yeah.
very much so. Very
Yeah.
much so. I think when you are able to take bite-sized moments and try to bite-sized processes, bite-sized changes, bite-sized habits, whatever it is that you're focused on,
Mhm.
if you can break it down a little bit and get comfortable with the repetition and lean into, okay, this is not going to be perfect right away. This is not going to deliver those instant results that I'm looking for, but that's okay.
Yeah.
And I'm going to try and just be a beginner and let it be sloppy and let it be messy and let me make a fool of myself and then get to the other side with time and patience.
Okay. You also link procrastination to health. And I'm curious, what is that connection? Because that I have never connected the two or thought they were related in any way, shape, or form.
Well, it's interesting. If you look at whether you yourself are a procrastinator, or let's say you have, I think we all know someone in our life, correct?
Sure.
Right. We all have someone in our life that we're like, oh, if they would only just do the thing, they would stop complaining
Hmm.
and they would start feeling better in all areas of their life. I have a couple of friends like that where I'm like, okay, enough talking and let's start taking action. Enough, wishing, wanting, and hoping, and let's start moving, right? Let's take that action. And the individuals in my life that have been able to recognize that have been able to go, yes, I need to stop stalling and start moving and take action, stop procrastinating and just do the thing. It is incredible, especially with their health wise, all the things that come together in their life and they start to be just a stronger, healthier version of themselves in everything, in every way, right? And to me, and I watched this happen firsthand multiple times again and again. It is the most incredible thing when you can recognize and have the self awareness to say, this is what is holding me back.
Hmm.
This is what I need to change. And you can become that person that you're not perfect. So in some areas of your life, you might procrastinate, but overall, you start to shift that needle. You start to move forward. You start to take action in your life. Look at how you feel every day. Look at
Mm.
your mental health. How do you wake up every day? You know what I mean? How do you go to bed every night? Do you sleep better? Are you more energized during the day? We don't realize how much procrastination plays a role on our mental health, the anxiety that surrounds it. I mean, just something little as if you are the type of person that lets the boxes in the corner of your room, the Amazon boxes stack, 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 and
Mhm.
every day you pass those boxes and you're like, oh, I gotta go to UPS, or oh, I gotta go to return those to Amazon. I gotta go. Next day, gotta go return those. Million things to do. Gotta go return those. Oh, I'll do it tomorrow. And you just keep procrastinating that little thing. Every time you pass them, there's a jolt of like that little mini anxiety, right?
Yep.
You go into that little fight or flight mode, you know? And what we want to do is we want to shift that. The second you take those boxes and you do the thing that isn't that hard
Right.
to do, you do it and you're like, oh, you walk by that spot and now you have calm, you have rest, you're in digest, you're not in this like fight or flight mode. And you don't even realize sometimes how much that adds up every single day. The weight you carry from not doing the little things.
It's
And
so true. I for my job, I have to do paperwork after, and I hate it. That is like, I'm a creative. I do
yes,
the paperwork, the numbers, the whatever, and I'm constantly putting it off, even when it is for me to get paid. I will wait till
yep,
the last
yep,
minute, basically. And my agent is always like, "If you would just do it, it
let's do
wouldn't
it.
weigh on you." The second I sit down and do it, it is like the biggest
Mm.
weight comes off my shoulders that I didn't even realize was there. Just like
And
you're saying, like,
right,
I
you
don't
feel
go about
light.
my day to day. Yes, I feel completely light. And then just like you're saying, I will go do a bunch of other activities because all of a sudden I have all this energy.
Oh my God, I love that. Okay, so Kelly, so what I would
Yeah.
say to you is you have to create a non-negotiable. So
Okay.
every time you do your podcast, I would
Yeah.
schedule I don't know how long it takes you, but let's say it's 30 minutes, a 30-minute afterwards, and you include that. So it's just
To
like you're here
include the
talking to
paperwork
me,
after.
just like you're here talking to me, it's non-negotiable that directly after you fill that out. That is your block of an hour
Yeah.
and a half. And that is what you're going to do. And it's non-negotiable. And you will never discuss it again with yourself.
Yeah.
That is it. Like
'Cause
that
that's
is
the
what you're
thing is
doing.
I don't schedule it. It's not on a list anywhere, and I'm always like, "Oh, I'll get to it, I'll get," but then I'll put it off until it has to be
And it
done
weighs
down to
on
the
you.
wire. Yes,
Yes.
it really, really does. Okay, well, I have to talk to you about sleep because as my listeners know, I really struggle in that department, and it's kind of just been this ongoing thing my entire life.
Mm.
Tried basically everything, but you give some sleep hacks, and so I have to talk about that with you. What are the simplest ones that you think can make the biggest difference?
Yes, and I am sorry that you struggle with that because I can relate. And now I'm at a point in my life where Kelly, everybody that knows me, specifically my 2 daughters, I'm like, "Don't mess with my sleep.
Oh,
You
same.
you do not like, it's that is
It's off
something
limits.
it's
Yeah.
off limits. Like, if it is gonna mess with my sleep, it is a no. It is a
Yes.
hard,
Yes.
hard hell no. Because I know that how I need to function, and I know what I wanna feel like, and I know that if I don't get those hours in, it's not a good thing for me,
No.
and at this point in my
Or
life,
anybody
or
really.
anybody. But, like, the older you get, the more you realize, right? So
Yes.
so for me, it was interesting, when I became a mother, I realized how important routine was to sleep, right?
Mhm.
I was, like, one of those moms where I'm like, "Oh, this child is going to sleep 10 hours by the time she's 3 months old," you know? And I was a stickler for the routine, and I made sure that this is the routine that followed. We had the milk, and then we had the bath, and then we had the story time, and then we had the rocking, and then we went to bed. And we didn't mess with that routine, right? I
Mhm.
had flexibility, like you still have to have flexibility, but that was the routine. And then you look at our routines. What are they?
Oh, it's different every day,
We're
and
going
they're
to
not
binge
good.
watch. We're going to have a glass of wine. We're going to go
Yes.
out here. We're going to
Yes.
scroll and look at everything that gives us anxiety right before we
Yes.
go to bed. And there is zero direction, zero strategy,
So
zero showing up
true.
for ourselves. There's no
Yes.
routine. And then we expect to just lull into this beautiful slumber and have no thoughts that wake us up. And then we have the
It's
most
so
glorious night of
true.
our lives. And it's like,
Yeah.
absolutely not. So my biggest thing is my advice is I want you to show up for your sleep, especially if you're someone that struggles with this, like you would prepare for the biggest meeting of your life. Okay.
Okay.
You want to show up as if you are going into that meeting prepared. Okay. So for you, it might be different. I list a ton of different ways that you can find that routine in the book. But, for me, I take a bath every single night. I have a red light little bed that I lay on, and
Mhm.
I let myself be bored. I don't have the phone. I don't, I mean, I watch TV, but like my routine as I'm getting ready for bed, no TV. I just have a certain thing that I do, and I stretch every night and I breathe every night. Like that is non-negotiable. I will not go to bed without doing those things. And
Okay.
If I miss those things, like if I do, I definitely don't sleep as good. I don't have the same night. I wake up in the middle of the night with thoughts, running the world and
Yeah.
running the show. And so I lean into those principles. And I think everybody's routine might be a little bit different. Again, I lay out a lot of different strategies, but for me, the goal is to find the routine that works for you and stick to it and show up for it as you would the most important meeting of your life.
Such a good comparison to teaching a baby how to sleep, like how to stay on a routine. And also, I love that you just said, I let myself be bored. I don't ever think that way. I never
Oh,
think you need to just let yourself sit here and be bored.
this is the problem. So I just
Right.
ate breakfast. This is something else I talk about in the book. Every first meal of the day, I make sure my phone is nowhere near me.
Okay.
Nowhere near me. I let my mind wander. I
Mm-hmm.
let myself be bored. I let myself think. I mean, that is where creativity is born, is in these in between moments when we're not constantly stimulated or something in front of us. When I go for a
Right.
walk every day, I don't necessarily listen to a podcast. I don't put music in always. I let myself be bored. I think, I look, I have ideas. And honestly, that's where most of my best ideas have come is during those moments of boredom.
Well, you're moving and you're not distracting your mind with something else. I just, the second you said that, that was the biggest epiphany for me because I thought, when do I ever just allow myself to just be bored? I constantly am filling my time, even if it's just with scrolling or something, there's something happening, you know?
So the next time you go to pick up your phone and you really don't have to, like there's no
Yeah.
need. It's simply just a means to not be bored. Put it down.
Yes.
Put it down and just sit with the thoughts. Just sit. Go for a walk or just sit. Just sit and be bored for 5 minutes and see what you think of.
God, I
See
mean, the
where the
fact that
yeah.
that's the big epiphany is to just sit and be bored, but that is because our culture does not do that.
We don't, and I have that with my children as well. I
Yeah.
constantly encourage that. Early on, I read an article about Lin-Manuel Miranda, who is the genius behind Hamilton, right?
Oh, yeah.
And he credited his mother and father he credited his youth for allowing this creativity in him to grow because he said his parents would work after school and him and his brother were, like most kids, like when I grew up, we were just out in the yard playing, like go play,
Yes.
go play until dark.
Always outside.
Right? Always outside,
Yes.
go play. And so that's what he did. And that's what he said that lack of constant stimulation, that
Mhm.
that moment of having to be bored and figure out what to do with that downtime is what, really helped him to create this incredible creative mindset. And that is what we're lacking both with children, but also with adults. Because we'll tell our
Yes.
kids, get off your phone, but
But
we don't get off our phone,
right. Right.
right?
Oh my god, it's so true. I mean, you've really blown my mind with that one.
I just bought a plate, Kelly, at this cute little boutique in Dallas, and it's a plate. It's this beautiful plate with flowers on it. It says, "Get
Yeah.
off your phone."
I mean, I need that in my mirrors everywhere. And
Yes,
it's just it's you know what's so sad about it to me is I don't even realize I'm doing it.
that's the
It is
problem. We don't.
so like just a part of the motions that I do. And actually, I had a somatic therapist tell me one time that that scrolling motion is a way we're trying to calm our nervous system.
Yes, my friend wrote somatic book for dummies, Kristen
Yeah.
McNee. She's amazing. And yes, correct. It is this like trying to find the calm. Our brain is going
Yeah.
and we're trying to just like
But that's not the place to go calm ourselves.
no, it is not, which is why we
Definitely
need a
not
that's
social
why we need this
media.
book.
Yes, yes.
That because we need to learn how to like relax and release. And yes, if that is your one takeaway, that would be the most powerful takeaway, honestly, is the
Yeah.
next time you go to grab your phone or the next time you sit. That's why I think the first meal of the day is my pillar for that. It's like just give yourself that moment. I don't care if you fast and your first meal of the day is at noon or if it's at 7 in the morning, whenever it is, put your phone away. Try to be bored. Try to be
Okay.
bored.
Yeah. Because your big thing is like, we don't need to be doing more. Like this idea that it's just like, oh, if I just do that next big thing, that's how we're going to find our peace. And you're like, no, 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 no. Either be bored or maybe try to integrate these small practices that are short. So is there one thing to any woman listening? Obviously for me, the being bored is the big takeaway for me today that I'm going to start applying. But is there one that you really love that you feel like people would see a change instantly kind of, or that would the change that's motivating to them?
Yes. And it's something that we do every single day that we are
Okay.
completely unaware of, that we have no idea how powerful it is, and it's in our back pocket. And that
Okay.
is intentional breathing. Intentional breathing. And I'm not talking like sit down and have a full meditation series. I'm talking about quick 30-second to 2-minute breathing series that is going to transform the way your body and mind and
Mhm.
mood feel. And it is like that.
Yeah.
I did it as part of survival, truly. Like I was holding onto a grocery cart, walking down the store. My knees were buckling. My world was spinning. I was like, how the hell did I get here in my life? I did everything right. How am I here? And I remember just having this moment of like, breathe, girl, or you're going to faint.
Yeah.
And I just started to breathe and I continued to breathe. I bought this smudge spray. I was smudging and breathing and smudging and spraying. I felt like an idiot, but I didn't care. I was in
Yeah, you're just
survival
like,
mode.
"Whatever is gonna
I was
happen."
whatever, and it just worked. And then I started doing more research on the power of why. Why it's scientifically
Mhm.
proven to get your body into a state of release, to come down from that fight or flight, to get into the parasympathetic system, and to start to feel good again. And it's so crazy because you don't need an app. You don't need to buy something. You don't need to study and learn all about it. It's not going to take you years to become a master at it. It's just like that. You just start to learn it, apply it, and you feel it
Yeah.
immediately. It has
Yeah.
changed my life. I mean, changed my life. And it is something I do every single day with intention.
The
Quick.
second you said breathe, I realized I was holding my breath. Isn't that wild? When we just walk around like shoulders raised, I kind of will find myself throughout the day having to remind myself, no, take a deep breath. Because I hold myself to so tight and I'm just moving, 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 moving. You're not breathing, which is wild.
You're not breathing. And if you can learn how to breathe with intention, like
Yeah.
really focus it on a longer exhalation and getting that exhale out, releasing that carbon dioxide, getting into that vagus nerve system, really focusing on how you can just reset. I
Yeah.
mean, if someone said to you, Kelly, here's a pill that you can take,
Mhm.
this pill, you pop this pill, and within 2 minutes, you're going to feel completely different if you're in like that state of anxiety. You'd be
Yeah.
like, great. No
Absolutely.
side effects.
Hand
No
it
side
over.
effects.
Yeah.
Yeah. But if someone said, "Oh, you have to actually intentionally breathe," you'd be like, "Oh, it's so gimmicky," or "I don't
Right.
think that's gonna work," or like, whatever, you know what I
Yeah.
mean? But we'd be quick to take that pill.
So
This is
quick.
something that is, backed by science, and it works, and it is an incredible tool that we all have at our disposal. And once you become somebody that does breath work, you never go back. Like I
Yeah.
said in the carpool line, I do breath work. If I start to feel a cold coming on, I do breath work. Like if I start to feel
Mhm.
anxiety coming on, I do breath work. I'm always trying to bring my body back into that calm state, and it truly, truly is transformative.
Can you speak to the cold piece a little bit? Because I've had an energy worker tell me that too. She says she doesn't
Oh.
really, her or her child, the second they start to feel congested or whatever, she'll do a breathwork session with them. And I've always wondered why that happens. But is our energy giving us the cold, like stuck energy giving us the cold?
Listen, there's no studies to back that up that I have
Okay.
seen But the science behind just the breathing on its own, regardless of what your body is feeling in terms of a cold, when you are functioning in this high state of energy, right? When you're
Yeah.
constantly in a state of anxiety, your body has to work overload, right? Just to maintain itself, just to get through. When you can bring your body back down to that calm parasympathetic nervous system state where you're not in that constant, as I mentioned, fight or flight mode. You're going to give your body what it needs to function
Got
without,
it. Okay.
right?
Yeah,
So
that makes sense.
so when I start to feel a cold coming on, or I feel like, the lymph nodes start to feel like a
Yes.
little swollen, whatever it is, I'm like, oh girl, I gotta lean into the breath because clearly something's going on with my body. It's fighting some type of inflammation. I need to kind of bring it down as much as I can into that calm state. And so
Yeah.
for me, I have noticed, and again, this may be placebo effect. I don't know what it is, but for me, it has been, like I said, transformative. I will sit in the
Yeah.
car. I'm like driving the kids to school 2 days ago. I'm like, oh, I feel like I might be getting into colds. And let's start to breathe.
Yeah.
And I focus on my breathing far more over those few days. Now, does it always prevent a cold? No, but I feel like it does make a difference. I really do.
Yeah. I mean, that the way you just explained it makes so much sense to me. So it's not that the breath is like curing the cold, it's setting our bodies up to be able to fight it off. I feel like we forget how powerful and strong our bodies are
Our
and
own
how wired
bodies.
they are to heal themselves.
Correct. So that's why you see again and again all these studies coming out that says the number one thing that you can do for your health is exercise. Why? Right? Why? I mean, it's very simple. Think about it. The
Yeah.
number one thing you can do to live a longer life and a healthier life, everybody will tell you, is to just move your body because
Yeah.
we're meant to move. We're
Yes.
meant to breathe and take full breaths. We're not meant to live in this state of constant rush of adrenaline, anxiety,
Mhm.
and And that's how we are. Like you said, shoulders up, holding your breath, and
Mhm.
you don't even realize it.
No.
And when you have that realization, you just take a moment to become more self aware. You start to just release some of that. You start to be the person that isn't holding the shoulders and holding your breath. You're just able to kind of come into a different state. It's still you, it's just a better version of you.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, the book, like we said, is called Small Moves, Big Life 7 Daily Practices to Supercharge Your Energy, Productivity, and Happiness. As always, I'll put that in the description of this podcast for you guys. Andrea, where else can people find you, follow you, work with you if
Yes.
they want to?
So on Instagram, it's Andrea Leigh Rogers, LeighRogers. And then you can go to smallmovesbiglife.com. So there, if you purchase the book, you can shoot me an email and all the information is there. And I'll send you a link to the workout library as well as a stretching library as well.
Amazing. Again, I'll put all of that in the description of this podcast for you guys. Thank you so much. I really enjoyed this conversation.
I love talking with you. That was great, Kelly. Thank you.